Hey guys, it's your boy Scoomy here today. I hope you guys are all having a great day. Today we're going to be bringing you a TDM live commentary. Let's hop right into it. Alright, so today I decided I'd switch gears and talk about something personal in my life, more than less. It's about the time I broke my wrist. So what had happened was, this is kind of illegal. What happened was there were neighbors across the street. You know, me and my brother, we were curious. We decided to go check out the house basically, since it had been abandoned, nobody lived there. So we went up in it and started looking around, peeping, you know, being curious kids that we were, finding different things. Well, that same house, we went back a few days and started playing around with it with a few of my friends. We started doing tricks off of kind of like the roof and the rafter and stuff. And I decided I was gonna spin off the rafter and try and just swing on it for a bit. Me, not realizing the dust, I ran up, and when I went to grab onto the ledge, I actually slipped off of the dust. And I came tumbling down. I felt like I did a flip, but I kind of just closed my eyes so I wouldn't really see it, you know? So when I did the flip, I landed on my chest, and my arm was under my arm. They were kind of overlapping each other. And when it actually happened, I heard the bone just like snap. I heard it all crack. And as soon as I got up, I just like remember telling myself, I was like, no, it's not broken, it can't be. Like, I was really scared because like I've never broken a bone before. So I was pretty scared, and I didn't want to tell my mom. So after a while, my brother goes in, and he literally sprints in like in a panic trying to get my mom. And my mom, she just like split her toe the same day, almost broke it. So she tells her, and I run into the kitchen. I run and literally hide it under the table. I try and hide it from my mom under the table. She comes in, asks me, telling me, let me see your wrist, let me see your wrist. And me, I'm still sitting there trying to hide my wrist as she's like telling me to show it to her. So after a while, I show it to her, and she flips out. She literally like just drops everything and flips out. Calls one of her best friends and says, we need to go to the hospital now. So, long story short, I'm sitting in the kitchen with a broken wrist. My wrist looks like a snake about to attack. Literally, the bones were on top of each other. And it looked like a snake all coiled up and was about to attack. So the nurse, when we get there to the urgent care, the nurse, she's sitting there talking. She's like making fun of my arm, I guess. So she's calling me snake arm and just giving me a hard time, really. So we're sitting there in the hospital, or the urgent care, I mean. We're sitting there in the urgent care. I'm being called snake arm by all the nurses, the doctors. Finally, the doctor comes in and checks me and hooks me up with an IV. They couldn't really put me to sleep because I have just eaten something. So I'm just sitting there with a broken wrist, just hanging out. I'm still scared, you know, thinking, oh, they're probably gonna have to do surgery, put pins in my arm. You know, just thinking the worst of whatever's gonna happen. So the doctor finally comes in after the IV is all hooked up, and I get it all taken care of. I'm in the bed, I'm laying down. My mom's sitting there with me with a friend. And I start to doze, but I couldn't really doze. I had just eaten SpaghettiOs. And I'm sitting there, and I'm just sitting there thinking, like, how dumb am I? I'm, you know, just swinging on a rafter, not really realizing, oh, what if I fall, you know? We're not thinking about the worst thing, just having fun with some friends. After a while, I'm just sitting there thinking, like, damn, I really messed up here. I broke my wrist. I'm gonna not be able to do anything for a while. So I'm in the middle of getting it all settled out. They're, you know, giving me the IV. The nurse walks in as I'm sitting there, and they're resetting it, and she comes and makes me a splint and everything. And then she sets the splint on my lap. me, I'm drugged up, not really able to say anything. I was out of my mind, loopy. And she comes, makes me a splint, and sets the splint on my lap. She forgets where she put it as she's sitting there stretching, as they're sitting there stretching my arm trying to set the bone. So I'm just sitting there like in pain as they're just setting my arm. She goes and says, oh, I guess we're gonna have to hurry up and make another splint. So I'm sitting there as they're just stretching my arm. Literally stretching it, trying to keep the bones in place as they're remaking a splint. She comes back with the already made splint and sees it sitting there on my lap. She goes, oh, I guess we left this here. Oops. And she walks away, throws the splint in the trash, the new splint that she just made in the trash, and picks up the old splint, and finally we use that. So, after a while of her just sitting there and finally uses a splint, and we get it all wrapped up, I'm sitting there thinking like, dang, I'm gonna be out of school, I'm not gonna be able to write, I'm not gonna be able to do anything, so I'm sitting there and I'm in the middle of thinking like, dang, this really sucks. I did it this time, not gonna be able to play video games. I'm gonna be out for a while. So finally the next day, I'm sitting there, I get a note for PE, go to school, and get everything all settled and sorted out the way. No, you're mine. Get everything sorted and out of the way. And my teacher asked me, she said, so, how'd you break your wrist? You know, me trying to be cool, I made up a whole story, you know, just like, yeah, I was in the middle of doing like these flips off of a roof into a pool, and I hit the edge of the pool and smacked my wrist against it, and it actually just snapped. And she's like, oh, that sounds like really bad, and I'm like, yeah, it was pretty bad, you know. And then all my friends, I tell them the same story, and after a while, it gets healed, and you know, I'm typical boy as it's healing. It starts to itch, and the doctor says, don't stick anything under and scratch it. Don't move it around. Me, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna scratch it, you know. I take a ruler in the middle of class and I start scratching it, and it pulls out a bunch of like dead skin and all that. But you know, it was a pretty gross story, and I hope you guys enjoyed hearing my story. And yeah, YouTube, we'll see you later. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. This has been your boy Skooma. Don't forget to drop a like, comment, and subscribe, and YouTube. We'll see you later.